This roof's getting installed with our premium roofing system. Backed by our 50-year warranty. And there's a 0% financing, no payment for 6 months options that this customer utilized. If you're looking for a new roof and you need an affordable option, call Absolute Restoration.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
It's Monday, and that means it's time for another work week. You've survived day one, but we got the rest of the week to keep going. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor. Welcome to Mississippi Live Weather at 5. Joined alongside Chief Meteorologist Matt Lavon. Matt, a dry day today, kind of rainy over the weekend, but more rain to come by Friday, and I know you have the latest chances on that.
Yeah, we're looking at that. Honestly, trying to juggle around, figure out what makes sense if we need to actually do some adjustment on our Mississippi Live Game of the Week, because that, of course, timing out for Friday, and we could have some issues as far as weather is concerned for then. But the next few days, I think it is the dry weather. It is the increasing temperatures. Those are more the weather story that we have going forward as we progress throughout this work week here in the Room Weather Center. And as we look again the next couple of days, transitioning ourselves more and more toward a little warmer temperatures, certainly showing up with that as well. Hey, and look at that behind there, the time change, just the leftover glow with our North Mississippi Storm Chasers camera there in the background. Yeah, so welcome back to that time of year, if that's something you're looking forward to there. We're expecting to, again, get a little bit warmer over the course of the next couple of days, much drier throughout this week, with the exception of Friday. I know some folks trying to figure out if we're going to be juggling some of those various football games. More on that here in a minute, but the cold will be back. Don't worry. This is just a temporary reprieve for those as those temperatures do increase a little bit. But for tonight, we are milder than we were last night, but still fairly chilly out there for quite a few spots for early tomorrow morning. We're 55, as you can see, 6 p.m., 46 by 9, 43 as we look toward midnight, and then in the lower 40s, if not upper 30s for some spots tomorrow morning. But that is considerably warmer than we were for this morning, where we had that frost, where we did reach a freeze for some locations, first fall freeze out there for quite a few spots. Outside, though, in Pontotoc, it is that glow of the clear skies, sun below the horizon, and temperature still holding on to 63 degrees apparently there in the Pontotoc area on that northwest sort of wind as dry air continues to kind of settle in. In Cleveland, flag there kind of blowing in what little breeze we have. Not much, because obviously they're coming in with 0 on that official reporting station. And again, looking back toward the east, so that glow not quite as bright there in Cleveland. Good evening to you at this time. And a good evening for folks there in Kosciuszko. At that shot, we show the sun still just barely above the horizon there. I think officially, as I have one of those Apple Watches where I check, it shows my sunset is supposed to be 3 minutes ago here at the house, but I guess holding on just a moment or two longer there in Kosciuszko because we're a little higher, and so that makes the relative look of the sunset last an extra moment or two. We're at 33 degrees, though, for that low temperature in Tupelo. Not quite a freeze, though we did show up at 32 there in New Albany. Boonville, 31, 30 in Corinth, as well as Holly Springs, about 30, reaching the freezing point. Hamilton, Alabama, as well as we show Amory, Bruce, Water Valley, Oxford, Red Bay, and Iuka. But a lot of folks not quite there. Starkville, apparently hitting officially that freeze. So still got a little longer before we get that last official, or I guess first official freeze there at Tupelo Regional Airport. High pressure is largely a story. The clear skies, the calm winds from that, what has helped us out, as you can see, no precipitation out there across the region. As we check out those temperatures, you'll notice again, and I'll make this kind of a slightly longer loop here to kind of show the overall effect of today, which has been fairly significant on warming those temperatures up a bit more, obviously, from the cool weather we had earlier, as high pressure is in place. Largely still another ridge of high pressure, making sure that most of this work week remains dry and mostly clear. As we bring it back here to show up our satellite perspective, looking on kind of the wider shot here as far as that is concerned on our infrared satellite. We do have a couple systems we're looking at. You got to go all the way out there into the Pacific to start to see these taking shape. And it's possible what is a fairly quick moving system could bring us a chance for some more active weather later on this week, and in particular once we get a little bit closer to the weekend. One of the things we'll be looking at in a lot more detail with your complete forecast here in a couple of minutes. So high pressure again, sinking air, clear skies across the region as we keep conditions dry, and that'll again help those temperatures to drop off. Maybe not quite as far for tonight. By 10 p.m., 11 p.m., we're clear and those winds remaining fairly calm with only a little smattering of cloud cover possible. Notice I do think it's not impossible to get some patches of fog again for early tomorrow morning, some of the lower lying areas, but for most locations, expecting it to be clearer than it was for this morning and milder than it was for this morning as well. So over the next 24, as you can see there, our 6 a.m. temperature, we're looking at about 40 degrees for that, which is, about 7 to 8 degrees warmer than it was this morning. 55 by 9 a.m. We're 68 by noon and low 70s by tomorrow afternoon. That does put us back above our normal, our 30-year average for this time of the year, as we're staying dry again for tomorrow. And that goes for most of this work week. The one exception probably comes as we look toward Friday and those Friday football games and maybe your just general Friday plans. We're tracking maybe some thunderstorms to mix in with that, which is a little different than some of the lighter showers we've had recently. Where are those most likely? Again, it's really early to assess whether or not we're talking about a couple that are strong, which is something I think we'll say is a possibility out of this. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynor looking at that coming up in 60 seconds as Mississippi Live Weather continues from the Room to Room Weather Center right after this.
Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
We found 2+ Smiles when our kids outgrew their pediatric dentist, and my husband and I wanted a place where the whole family could be taken care of.
As far as technology goes, there is nobody more advanced than 2+ Smiles.
When people are fed, futures are nourished. They can connect with the world around them, unlock endless possibilities, and thrive. Join the movement to end hunger. Volunteer. Advocate. Donate. Go to feedingamerica.org/act now. Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor. Big thank you to Matt for joining us this evening, walking us through that forecast. And yes, talking about Friday's rain chances. What we're assessing right now is a very dry forecast, though, and not just dry, but already getting kind of cool. That sun setting on the horizon. So folks in Saltillo probably had that air crank this afternoon, but that'll change heading overnight. 63 degrees is where we topped out for a lot of locations as we got into that peak heating this afternoon. But again, those temperatures will drop a little bit more early, as you can see right there in Oxford. A lot of that sun starting to set, and we get that little glimpse there of what's left there on the horizon with those oranges, those yellows. Just a beautiful sight. And we're talking about how, we're grateful that the sunset was happening at the 6 o'clock hour just a couple weeks ago. Now we're turning that even more back by 5. We're probably tracking a night sky by 6 o'clock. So golly, the world is always changing. Starkville already showing some cooling taking place, 57 degrees, but dew point, you see that number right there, 43 degrees. So it is still a very dry pattern, even as those temperatures build moving forward. Now, we did have a great picture submitted by Caleb's father, Mr. Edelblut, down in Starkville, and you're getting those fall colors entering the picture. A look at that foliage coming up later on in Mississippi Live Weather. But again, it's moving in place. Those reds, those oranges are definitely showing up a bit more. So if you're looking to travel and see those fall colors, and you're going to get it. And of course, the Trace, a great place to see that. But what we got this morning was frost. And this is what a lot of folks left the house to, my wife included. We cranked the car early this morning before we headed out the door to go ahead and get rid of that frost, not have to scrape it off. So that was smart thinking. Shout out my wife for thinking ahead on that. But if you're looking to do the same, potential for a little bit more frost, primarily going to be east of us, where I think our frost expectations conditions are today, and that's it for the next several days. So Tim and Tilatoba, thank you for submitting this picture. Weather watchers tracking some cold conditions. As Matt was mentioning a moment ago, low temperatures since midnight. A lot of 32s and 33s popping up, but 30 up in Corinth definitely stands out. 32 down there towards Macon. 38, so a little bit warmer out west in Cleveland, but those temperatures trending warmer as we get into our Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, and even by the end of the week. We're just continuing to see that trend up. Temperatures right now, 57 in Oxford, 61 in Corinth, and 59 around Boonville, 57 in the Golden Triangle. But again, all of these temperatures dropping even over the next several hours. So if you're normally out and about at 6 or 7 o'clock, definitely going to feel noticeably different than what it typically has been. Our Mississippi Live Weather Radar not tracking anything over the last hour. That includes rainfall, and it also includes cloud cover. As we take a look at satellite imagery, a lot of that just being driven away, and those blue skies were prominent today. If you did not get a chance to go outside, you definitely missed out on a fantastic forecast, but luckily you didn't miss it. It's still lingering in that extended pattern, and we'll look at that in just a moment on the next several days. So Park Planner this evening, going to be chilly, 50 degrees by 7, 46 by 9, and 44 if you're out there by 11 o'clock. Going to be a cool one for sure, but fog entering the picture by 11 o'clock and really extending into our Tuesday morning. So low beams will be essential for a few locations, but very patchy on that fog coverage. Futurecast this evening again showcases those dry and clear conditions, not really tracking much of anything. And as Matt was mentioning, a big driver in that forecast has been that high pressure system continuing to remain right over the top of us before it extends further east. As we look on that extended picture, because again, there's not much to be tracking here in North Mississippi, you can see some of that cloud cover moving in there towards Texas and Kansas. None of that system is going to be impacting us, and we stay in those dry and clear conditions overnight. So honestly, that's why we're getting these cool temperatures. When things start to change is when that moisture pushes back into the forecast and those winds start to shift to more of a southerly flow. Again, we'll get to that in just a moment. So continue to remain dry, continue to remain clear, continue to remain a beautiful forecast. But we bring it back to our home view, and you can see some areas by 2, 3 a.m. really showing up pretty prominent there towards southern Lee County, around Shannon, Nettleton, even down there towards West Point and Macon. Those becoming a little bit more dense by our morning commute. So make sure to have those low beams on, not just along Highway 45, but even folks along Highway 61, Clarksdale, Shelby, Cleveland, and Greenville going to be included within that. Again, this is not really cloud cover. This is more of those dense fog areas, but a large portion still mostly clear. And those mostly clear conditions will allow those temperatures to cool off, with upper 30s, low 40s still a realistic possibility. Although it is warmer, we still need to bundle up heading out the door. It is going to be a cool one. That school bus graphic, make sure those kids have those layers. 40 degrees by pickup and 70 by drop-off. Fog coverage for that morning commute, so bus drivers, even you guys out on the roads, need to compensate for some of those foggy conditions. But by drop-off, by the end of the day, it's going to be a great forecast with plenty of sunshine. Definitely something to look forward to as we continue with our day. But there's that high pressure we've been talking about, and that continuing to keep our forecast pretty clear and pretty dry once again. So it says 7:30 on your Tuesday. If we extend it out just a bit and get the bigger picture, you can see just how dominant this ridging pattern is, that we have two separate high pressure systems develop along that same ridge. So continue to enjoy that just a bit as we head into our Tuesday morning plans and our Tuesday afternoon. Again, that being the big driver moving forward. But you can see the shift in the winds, and this is where things start to matter a bit when it comes to our temperatures, how we have this northerly flow there on the east side of the high pressure and a little bit of a southerly flow there on the west side. Now that southerly flow will return some moisture to the forecast, allowing for those temperatures to be a bit more mild for those morning commutes and a bit warmer by the afternoon. So if you've not been a fan of the cold weather, things are trending just a bit warmer, even as early as Tuesday afternoon. So little something to look forward to in the next 24 hours as we get our work week continued on. But high pressure still remaining over the top of us, not much movement with it. We'll keep those clear conditions around, so a lot of that cloud cover up there towards Columbia, Jackson, and Springfield, Missouri, not reaching all the way into North Mississippi. So we'll keep with those great conditions once again. High pressure remains right over the top of us by 5, 6, and 7 o'clock. So any of those evening plans you have for Tuesday still will be good to go. High temperatures, like we mentioned, trending a bit warmer. We reached the low to mid 60s today. 71 for Houston by tomorrow, 72 Water Valley, 69 still in Holly Springs, and 68 around Iuka. So some areas still in those 60s, but we expect 70s to return to the forecast. I'm going to expand it out one more time because I do want to show you guys that movement of that system out there towards the west. You can kind of see that frontal boundary up there around Minneapolis. This is going to dip a little bit more south before driving more into our area as we get into that extended picture. But Where we expect the real impact to be made is going to be with this forecast all the way out west. This frontal system moving through the region and giving us our next chance for some showers and storms. So by Wednesday afternoon, you could see this front moving into the area. This isn't exactly a strong front, and there will be not much change with it. At most, probably shifting those winds, but we really have those rain chances moving in by the time we get towards our Friday. So Wednesday staying dry once again, and as you can see right here, this cold front primarily just going to be swapping those wind gusts from the southerly wind to more of a northerly flow as that high pressure remains right over the top of us once again. So we expect a dry frontal system on Wednesday, not exactly going to be impactful when it comes to our rain chances. But as we look at those high temperatures, this is where things will be impacted. Before that front moves in, Wednesday afternoon, we're still talking about mid to upper 70s. So much warmer than where things have been. I do see a few low 70s up there in the northeast part of Alabama or Mississippi, but definitely going to be at least a few degrees warmer than where things will sit Tuesday, and Tuesday being a few degrees warmer than where things will sit Monday or this afternoon. So low temperatures over the next several days. You can see that gradual warming trend with 40 on Tuesday, mid 40s Thursday, and mid 50s by Friday. Whenever we see a jump like this, that means moisture is returning to the forecast, and we expect it to, down the wrong pipe. And beyond that point, though, once that frontal system clears, will cool us off into next week. And Monday, if you want the cold temperatures, it'll be back in the forecast. As we look at high temperatures following that same trend, Friday around 75 degrees, so that gradual warming trend definitely going to be impactful. But as we get into next week, those temperatures do start to drop with 63 by Sunday and 55, barely making the map there on Monday. So we're not fully out of the woods just yet. Summer is not returning to the area. We're just getting that brief break with a warming trend before things cool off once again heading into next week. So a beautiful forecast Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then you enter Friday and the realistic possibility of a few strong storms push into the picture. That's a possibility, not exactly a reality as of now. We're still watching this behind the scenes to assess a better bet on that Friday forecast, but definitely keeping that day circled because it is time for our Friday football games. Even a few playoff games happening, might have to reschedule potentially, but we're continuing to look at that in more detail here in the Room to Room Weather Center. Saturday and Sunday staying on the drier side, potentially a few batches of showers due to some leftover moisture on Saturday, but beyond that, drier forecast pushes in place. High pressure dominates our area, and by Monday, we're talking about a cold, dry, and clear day once again. So keep those jackets around. You just might need to add the rain jacket to it. We'll take a look at that Friday forecast in more detail coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 6. We expect to see you guys there for all the latest information here on Mississippi's weather. Until then, go ahead and download the app. It's free and available on the app stores, both iOS and Android, and lets you know what's happening in your area. Able to highlight specific locations, my home being one of those, and you're able to see what's happening. So you can highlight your home or any of your friends' homes to kind of forecast for them what's moving through the area when rain is about to push in. Just a great app to keep everyone informed. Our next broadcast, that happens on the app as well, and that'll be at 6 p.m. this evening with our following broadcast at 10 p.m. And don't forget our morning show, always readily available with meteorologist Maggie McCauley at 6:30, 7, and 7:30.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Being a parent, especially for the first time, with that comes a lot of self-doubt. As a dad, I just try to lead by example. When you're trying to be the best person that you can be, your kids see that and then they emulate that.